The mailman stopped cold when he noticed me in the driveway, barefoot, holding a shovel in one hand and a half-eaten sandwich in the other. I wasn't angry at him, just shocked by the letter he delivered to me. It stated I'd construct a luxury swimming pool in my backyard and owed the HOA $50,000. I live alone, grow peppers in old pots, and haven't swam since the 80s yet. According to the Oak Ridge HOA, I constructed a glittering underwater palace behind my shed. With no permission, that was only the start. The envelope had formal HOA letterhead, a code violation, and a fine structure looking like a mob shakedown. I sat down in my porch swing, ripped into my sandwich, and gazed at the amount $50,000 for a pool I never had on land where I'd held a deed for 35 years. My shed rested on a dry, uneven patch, barely sufficient for an kiddie pool. The sole blue item in back was a worn-out tarp over hay bales to keep them dry. No water, no pipes, only mud and visions of a peaceful retirement. I went to the HOA office, a once community center, now a fortress of mismatched furniture and posters complaining about lawn length. I insisted on seeing the board. A woman with flawless hair and a smile as sharp as shards of glass appeared, Eleanor Prescott. Of course, she waived my notice as if it were an old joke. "Mr. Bennett, your unauthorized pools, right here in the pictures." Her screen displayed a blurry satellite picture, a blue blur behind my garage. "That's a tarp," I said, anticipating a misunderstanding. She did not blink. "The fine is, unless you can prove otherwise, hearings on the notice." She turned away, dismissing me out of my yard. "Carl," a weathered farmer took me aside. "You're not the first. Eleanor twists something on your property, slaps you with fines last year." She'd labeled Tom's shed a structural hazard, compelled him to rebuild. My stomach churned. I disregarded HOA foolishness, paid dues, kept my lawn neat, but now they'd come for me with a $50,000 sledgehammer. I wouldn't roll over that night. I checked the tarp with a flashlight. Dry hay squirrels, no pool. My dog Rusty watched like I'd lost it. Maybe I had mourning. Brought a county clerk letter, a lien on my land. My hands shook. They weren't just finding. Methy were threatening my home, my life's work. I made coffee, stared out the window, then pulled an old folder from my desk, blueprints, maps, permits, from my 40 years as a civil engineer. I designed entire subdivisions, new property law, like my own pulse. Eleanor wanted war, she'd get one. I'd fight with paper proof and grit, the kind that comes from building wastewater systems for towns. This wasn't about money anymore, it was about truth. Against her petty empire, at the county assessor's office, a dim building smelling of dust and wax, I asked for all records on my parcel. The clerk, Marge, returned a stack thick as a brick. The inspection form justifying the lien had no signed signature of a licensed assessor. Only initials dated a Sunday when the office was closed. The pool was attested by a grainy free map screenshot with a red ring around my canopy. Marge whispered, "Eleanor's relative worked here, rammed satellite evaluations into procedure." My face tightened. Orchestrated deceit, not incompetence back home. Carl told secrets. Eleanor fined a dowager for unauthorized flowers, another for a dangerous post office. Her secret was ambiguous. Ordinances bent into fines, too tiny for lawyers, but sufficiently large to bruise. I hauled the canopy away, revealing bare soil, and called a local TV station. A journalist, Jenna, turned up, hungry for small-town affairs. I demonstrated to her the notice, tarp, lien, and dry ground. She recorded, interviewed Carl regarding his excellent fence, and hopped on the dirt for the camera, stating, "This pool is merely hay and dust." Rusty barked approval. The story broadcast. Jenna's jump went viral. Social media ridiculed Eleanor's murderer Hool. That evening, her black SUV moved by my house. She stormed up, heels clicking, face contorted. "You've embarrassed the board." I indicated. "You embarrassed yourself, Eleanor. I just proved the truth." Her face flushed red. "This isn't over." She spat, almost knocking over my mailbox as she sprinted away. Days later, a summons came for an HOA meeting. I went prepared for a showdown. The community hall reeked of stale coffee, its uneven flag taunting the serious board. Eleanor sat in the middle, flanked by 4 members, including nervous young Owen. I stood explaining the tarp fake inspection. Gaunt and news clip murmurs grew. I asked Owen, "Did you inspect my land?" he fidgeted, glancing at Eleanor. I was told to sign, not ask. The room erupted. Neighbors shouted about rose fines, bike citations, mailbox. Threats. Eleanor's gavel was ignored. I slipped out the chaos, her own making, in my workshop. Rusty at my feet, I studied my land's blueprint. A thin line marked a water main from the HOA's clubhouse crossing my field. Without an easement of favor I'd granted years ago, unrecorded. I discovered the buried access hatch added a legal shut-off valve to my side and shut it off at noon. Eleanor's voice raged on about the clubhouse's dry toilets and fountain. I drank coffee on my porch, Rusty's head on my boot, as landscapers rushed. Eleanor marched up, accusing me of cutting their water. I asked for an easement. She had none. Drop the lien. Fine and apologize and we'll talk, I told. She threatened legal action and stormed off that evening, an envelope on my porch. An email from Eleanor to Vince, her cousin, stating, "Fine him into submission. I want that field, call it a pool." I locked it in my safe, pure dynamite. Owen came by, confessing Eleanor intimidated him into signing blank forms, threatening his shed's permit. "You're not afraid of her," he said. "I'm tired of being afraid. This wasn't just my battle, Anna Maria. It was for every neighbor hushed by her ring." At the county clerk's, I lodged a grievance against the HOA and Eleanor for fraud, lien abuse, and infrastructure abuse, including the email. Marge smiled. "This will set something big." The clubhouse lawn turned yellow. Sprinklers sputtered. Eleanor strutted, threatening lawsuits. But whispers grew. My attorney Clara, a retired prosecutor who despised HOAs, called it fraud. I canvassed neighbors, gathering stories. Find trellises, flagpoles cracked, sidewalks. Clara sued, fraud, defamation, abuse, demanding the lien removal. Eleanor freaked out, offering a silent settlement. I referred her to Clara. Board members stepped down, citing family problems. The county initiated an HOA audit. Eleanor phoned the sheriff, claiming I trespassed and destroyed property. The deputy who knew her viral tantrum inspected my valve and documents, then uttered, "I've waited years for someone to take her down." A court letter appeared. The lien was illegal, the fine dismissed, and an HOA audit ordered for potential embezzlement. News aired my story featuring the dry field, and Eleanor's meltdown. Neighbors honked, one leaving bottled water marked, "Stay hydrated, hero." Owen discovered a USB in the clubhouse, unedited recordings of Eleanor boasting about phony fines and aiming my land for a pavilion in court. Clara detailed the fraud, playing Eleanor's voice, scheming my destruction. Owen testified, voice steady, revealing her coercion. The judge ruled the lien fraudulent, ordered Eleanor to pay damages, and dissolved the HOA board, recommending criminal probes. Eleanor sat deflated, power gone. Neighbors clapped outside court. Jenna asked for a statement. This wasn't revenge. I said it was about standing firm. Eleanor resigned. The board, reformed under Owen. I helped redesign irrigation, ensuring no pipes crossed private land without consent. Kids called me pool man. Laughing, a gift. Appeared a plastic pool with a duck and a sign. Caution, deep justice. I left it rough, drinking from it like a king. Eleanor left her home, sold bargain at a community picnic. Owen appreciated me for displaying what standing up is. I raised my glass. Remaining seated, the pretentious pool disappeared. But truth constructed something actual. Community free to breathe based on justice, not regulations.